Good morning and welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is November 12th, 2025. This is episode, I think, 158 or 159. I'll have to fix that during post-production. Not quite sure. I think it's 58, 158. Today, what a great day. What a great day. Rearranged my cameras, rearranged my switcher, have gone to a new, little bit better angle here. Today we're going to discuss the continued, just the Democratic Party dissolving in front of our eyes. The Democrats continue to melt down and now want Senator Schumer to step down as minority leader in the Senate. The 8 senators who broke rank, of course, are not up for re-election. So this was a very strategic plan by Schumer to go, you 8 go out there because you're not going to be hurt in 2026. And you go out there and do this. Well, I scream no, 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 and Jeffrey screams no, no, no. And many Democrats sitting in the Senate, many Democrats in the House, they want this to end. They want this done with. They realize that they're not going to get what they want. And this was a fool's journey to take on the Trump administration and his big, beautiful bill. A major, major mistake made by the Democrats. This will not work out for them because a lot of the leftist, progressive Democrats, which now I call all Democrats, are leftists and communists. I'm going to paint them with the same brush. But now they're fighting amongst themselves. And a lot of the progressives are calling these 8 and Schumer traitors. Schumer never supported Mamdani in New York, and they see that as a slap in the face for their communist goals. The 8 senators joined with the Republican senators, less one, Rand Paul, of course, and Rand Paul is an interesting individual. His complaints should be listened to because he makes very good points. Not always popular points, but he does make very good points. So the resolution is heading to the House this evening for a vote, and minority House Leader Jeffries has stated that he's going to order Democrats to vote no unless ACA premium subsidies are included in the budget as per their demands. Now, we've seen armies that have had complete defeat make demands, and the victors tell them no, you're not getting those demands. And as a matter of fact, we're going to punish you even more just for being stupid enough to make a demand. You have the fighting that's going on in the House that is Just unbelievable. Democrat against Democrat. You have Representative Raskin out of Delaware called the senators who voted to reopen the government with provisions to allow those members of the Congresses the ability to sue for damages from the illegal actions taken by the DOJ in its investigation of the Trump election. And these congresspersons were singled out by Jack Smith and the judge who then signed the order demanding that the cell phone companies give up their data on these individuals. Now, the federal law requires that the Senate be notified of any actions taken like this by those particular cellular companies, and the court order demanded that not be the case. That the court order would supersede the federal law. AT&T refused to do it and told them, pound sand. He goes, the minute we hand this paper to you, we are notifying the Senate and those involved that we have been ordered to turn over your phone records as per this court order. And that's it. And it goes to a special committee in the Senate that looks over. It's like an oversight committee. The Jack Smith and his people said, "No, you can't do that. That the order states you can't do that." And AT&T said, "No, well, the law says we have to do this, and we're not going to violate the law because some judge doesn't know the law. We do." And they refused. And you know what Jack Smith did? Nothing. He just went and knocked on the next door, and Verizon caved in, and some other carriers caved in and gave them this information without notifying the individuals that would need to be notified. AT&T did not notify people because they didn't hand over the documents. So there was no need for them to notify them because the event just didn't happen. Verizon has since changed their procedures on matters like this to say, no, you don't get it. Not without us notifying these people. So, meaning you can get it, but we have to then have that knee-jerk reaction to notify the other parties. Well, that now allows people to possibly take civil legal action, not only against the companies that released the information because they violated the federal law, but to go after the courts, the Department of Justice, to say you knowingly violated the law here, and you knowingly did that with the sole purpose of violating the law. And I think there's going to be justification for such, but that is part of now the provision of the budget. That's a little tag that they put on there. They go, now we have the ability to go after this. By having the ability for these individuals, Senator Graham is one of them, then opens the door for everything about how that case came about, how the dotted lines were put in place in front of a grand jury. And that's the last thing the Democrats want. That is the last thing the Democrats want. And guess what? They're going to fail with that too. So the cell carriers were required to report to the Senate of the DOJ's actions, and they did not. The 8 senators, of course, are Durbin, King, Kaine, Fetterman, Sheenan, Hansen, Mastro, and Rosen, who are on the progressive communist list of a naughty people. And they're going to go after these people. You know, they're going to go after them. AOC is just gleaming, hoping that Schumer is either kicked off, resigns, decides not to run, gives up the fight. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. But as this all continues, Representative Minority Leader Jeffries of the House, during an interview with CNN, to Wolf Blitzer, stated that 2 Supreme Justices were corrupt without proving or providing any proof. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat, New York, went on a tangent about Supreme Court being corrupt in this Tuesday interview, referencing an ethics scandal involving conservative Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Now, so you people understand there is no mechanism in place to punish the Supreme Court. They really are the kings of the land when it comes to the law. So, Jeffries made the accusations to a question from CNN host Blitzer, who asked him what he thought of Senator Angus King of Maine's decision to vote in favor of ending the government shutdown. That's when Jeffries went on a tangent and just lost it. And after coming and asking, you know, hold it, you just accused them of being corrupt. I want to know more about this. And when Blitzer asked for an explanation on the Supreme Court allegation, the congressman reinforced his position. Jeffries then vowed House Democrats would clean up corruption in Congress, the White House, and the Supreme Court. And went on to say, what I'm saying is that the outrageous behavior by the individual justices like Clarence Thomas and Justice Samuel Alito, and their failure to have any ethical code of conduct is corrupt. For the Supreme Court justices, the word corrupt in their application of the Constitution does not exist. Now, it doesn't exist. There's no enforcement mechanism for the current ethic code for the Supreme Court. So if he could make that claim, but it's baseless because there's nothing in there for them to do anything about it. And I'm not saying that's right or it's wrong, but they don't have one. So you could make a claim that way. There's just, and there's no proof of it. There's no proof of it. I think, and then he got pressed harder. And Jeffries went on to say, what I'm suggesting is that we focus on delivering a country that is actually works for the working class Americans, he continued. We got to make sure that every single branch of government is working in a manner consistent with lifting up the quality of life for everyday Americans and holding themselves to the same standards that working class Americans are expected to live by. Work hard and play by the rules. You idiot, Jeffries. You work hard and play by the rules. That's the law, right? Show me where you're allowed to have sanctuary cities. Show me in our immigration policy where we're allowed to have sanctuary cities. Show me in our laws where we can give money to people that shouldn't be here. Oh, those rules. Oh, you don't want to play by those rules. We have to play by your rules. So it's like a cafeteria. I could pick and choose today what rules, and playing by the rules. And you don't think that everyday Americans, working class, that Bill Gates was not working class? Or other billionaires, Musk and all these other people weren't working class? They didn't start, and form a company and a business. Even Donald Trump, who came from a very wealthy family, came from working class. For Jeffries to make that reference is an insult to every American who works hard to improve themselves, to improve the lot of their family, to improve the standard of living for themselves, and then to be told, no, we have to be like every other one, so if they're poor, you have to be poor. To the same standards that the working class have. If you're poor, that's what you're going to be. We don't have surfism here, Jeffries. You ignorant bastard. You arrogant bastard. These words will be used against the Democrats all over the country. You're going to have moderate Democrats going, I can't stay behind those words. You're going to have unions who go, yeah, no, I work hard and I should make what the guy at McDonald's make because he has no education or skills. He can just flip burgers and go, next order, please. And I'm not putting them down. They're working. Should they make $50 an hour? Should a Big Mac have to cost $14? No, I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And if you're going to do that, why have Why strive to have a higher education and go up the ladder? Oh, that's right, communism, they don't like that. Do you think we're fooled by that? Do you think we're just going to sit back any longer and accept that nonsense? You have another thing coming. You guys are so far behind. So far behind the thinking of America right now that you're not American. You're something else, but you're not American. The guy making a statement like this is a joke, and he continues to want the government to be shut down. We're tired of this talk. We were tired in November of 2024. Wait to see how we vote in 2026. Forget about blue state Democrat wins. We knew that no Republican of any credibility ran for the mayor. You watch what we're going to do with the governors. You wait and see. These people are amazing. They go, we had a big blue wave. They had nothing. Nothing. The Republicans shut you down. And if Schumer does go, who are you going to put in his place? That's just another win for Donald Trump. It's like remember like in World War II, they would put the airplane being shot down on the side of a pilot's airplane to show he got him. That's what Trump's doing on his door. Got another one. Got another one. And on that same thinking, Sonny Hostin of the View, not The View, not News with a View, but The View, co-host Sonny Hostin called on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to be replaced on Monday after the necessary amount of Democrats voted in favor to reopening the government. How dare the Democrats do their job? Right, Sonny? How dare them? Well, you're making how much money on your show that produces little to no revenue? That has eyeballs that don't spend money? I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over. If he cannot keep his caucus together, he needs to go. He needs to be replaced, Houston said on The View. Well, from The View. I don't know if she said it on The View. Sounds to me like she did. Might have been on one of her podcasts, but she still made this statement. Do you think Schumer should be replaced? I don't. And I've said this before, I'm not a fan of Schumer. But Schumer knows how to get a deal done. And he knows how to deal with Trump. And he might be the only one there that knows how to deal with Trump. That Trump has some respect for the guy, and understands he's got to do what the Democrats want him to do, but he also knows how to cut a deal. If the Democrats were to foolishly get rid of Schumer and push him to a side, Trump will see this as the Democrats truly being a wounded gazelle. And he will just hunt and pick, and it will not be good. And I don't like politics like that, but I realize that is the animal that you're dealing with. And I think that if Trump feels that he has wounded them that seriously, he's going to go in for the kill. And he's going to press hard to have the filibuster tossed. The Senate will be controlled totally by the Republicans. The House will then fall in line. And that's it, folks. For the next 8 to 12 years, that's what you're going to have. And all this over the subsidies for affordable health care, which is not affordable unless we, the taxpayers, are making it affordable for people. And as I stated in the last 8 or 9 podcasts, to have a system that penalizes you for having insurance, and that's what it does. You go into a diagnostic center, and you have what I call non-traditional insurance. And I can go in there, I hit my deductible, I think my deductible is $3,000, family $1,500 individual, but once the family hits $3,000, that's it, there's nothing more. And under Medicare, which I have, I don't have to pay more than $25 or something, or maybe $50, but then everything is covered per visit. I don't pay anything. Now, if a person walks in to one of those diagnostic centers and says, I have no insurance whatsoever, they put a social security number in there, and they go, no, you have a policy. It's a $7,000 deductible or $3,000, for diagnostic things. So he goes, you pay the $3,000 and we'll bill your company the rest, and that's it. That's your end of your responsibility for any care after that. You make your deductible and you're taken care of. Yet the guy behind him has no insurance. They put a social, you have no insurance. And they turn around and said, all right, that test is $600. And the guy goes, whoa, I'll pay the $600. And they go, no, can't do that, because you have this insurance policy. And you want it, it's $3,000. You got to pay your deductible. So you're going to be billed the $7,000 that we billed your insurance company. You're going to pay the $3,000, and then whatever they pay us, we accept. That's it. But you're going to have to pay us the $3,000 deductible. No, you don't want to do that. Next. And that's not right. That's not right. And that's the plan. That's the problem with these managed healthcare plans. And the managed healthcare gets these premiums, that you're paying. Your coverage would have cost you $850 a month, but because of the subsidy, and it was a COVID subsidy, it would only cost you, $285, and the government would make up the rest. Well, they want that to go away. And the Democrats say, no, we want that to stay, and we want that to stay forever. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Donald Trump won the election, not just because of his stance on the Affordable Care Act. There was a lot of other things. And there might be a lot of people that go, well, something really has to be done. People can't afford that, but, let them work out something. But Trump is right over here, over here, over here. I don't have to agree with everything Donald Trump says. It isn't blindly clicking your heels and marching forward. But if 60% of the stuff or 70% of the stuff that he's saying you're sitting there and agreeing with, well, okay, let them figure out some of these other things, and maybe some of the stuff that he's saying over there that's a little wild, he won't be able to do. But the 60% of the stuff, boy, I'm all for it. Well, that's how the voting should work. I don't like the idea of anyone just going into the booth and, hit the red button or hit the blue button and you walk out. I mean, and it happens. It happens with the Republicans. It happens with the Democrats. And, my party, right or wrong. I never was that way. I have crossed party lines. No problem with it. When it makes sense and the agenda fits my agenda past the 50 or 60% mark, yeah, I could be swayed. And I'm not one of these voters that, well, I'm on the fence to the last minute. I know after listening to these people whether or not they carry an idea that I like. And even with, and I attended two of Robert Kennedy's Jr.'s rallies, and got to ask him personally some questions. And some of the questions, I looked and I was like, yeah, can't go with you on that. But some of his other ideas were spot on, made sense, common sense. Common sense. It's a good idea. I like it. Getting off the subject a little bit. Years ago, while I was a credit union executive, thus the NCUA, National Credit Union Administration, I had said that what is needed in the housing market are loans that can go up to 50 years. And, with a set or a 10-year adjustable rate that can't go up more than X amount percent. Now, it's something to protect the people and also protect the lending institutions. Now, a normal 30-year mortgage, that would cost you $1,800 a month just for the mortgage. Could come down to, I don't know, $980 or $1,100. And that $900 a month then could be used to pay the property taxes, the insurance, and maybe some utilities. And you can get people that can then walk into a house. They could afford a larger mortgage, and you could have scales set up that, if you put down 15%, you can get a 35-year mortgage. If you put down 30%, you can get a 40-year mortgage. If you put down 50%, you could have a 50-year mortgage. And then you might be looking at a $580 a month payment. Now, yes, you would pay a lot of money for that house if you stayed there 50 years. Most people don't. And you could have things put into there where after 5 years the government will buy the note, or, work something out so that the banks can unload and thus have more capital to lend out and not be held back by, you have loans, you gotta reserve for that. So have a system where that the government then holds that note or sells it to a private investor where the government is no longer guaranteeing that loan. You're out on your own, pal. Terms of the contract, terms of everything must be maintained, but the government is not on the hook. If that loan goes bad, that's on you, meaning the person holding the paper. If the government holds on to the paper, you could have it where the government is on the hook for that. When you sell your house, you have to pay like a VIG, 1% or 2% of your profit goes back in to take care of those loans that did not pay out for them. So they're self-insuring the system. There's all ways to do that. And keeping the banks relevant in it and keeping it in the free market arena. It is not hard to do. What it is hard to do is administer that. But with technology now, it's a lot easier, and you can do it with a lot less people and a lot more efficiently. So there are a lot of things that we can do to help Americans. Donald Trump is spot on when he said 50-year mortgages. You just have to have a formula for it. And you could have people that are paying $2,000 a month rents. Knock that down to maybe $1,100 and have a home. So, but there's more to home ownership than just the mortgage. You have taxes, you have insurance, maintenance. There are things that are going to break in that house. That lawn's going to be needed to be cut, or yard needed to be upgraded, fences, furniture. So those are all things that go into play that people don't have to worry about when renting. But, renting you're at the mercy of, and owning, hopefully it appreciates over time, and you walk out okay. You walk out okay. So get back to the dump Schumer language that's going on. I got to look to see. Okay, 40 minutes. Senator Jean Shaheen, and I think she's from where is she from? Texas? Nevada. She's from Nevada. I know I have page 1 here somewhere. Page 3, page 2, page 1. New Hampshire. She revealed that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer knew the entire time about the plan for a few Democrats to capitulate to Republicans on the government shutdown. So, like I was saying before, he goes, listen, we have to say no, 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 no. And we need to get out of this because we're not going to win it, and we're just going to get deeper and deeper into this. And you know, we thought maybe after a week of this, the you know, there'd be we might be able to make some headway. We can't. This is now going sideways, so I need people to stand up and do it and push it, and we'll force the issue in the House. And the Senate will have done their job. So, if it's true that Schumer did know this and did formulate this and did give a silent nod to this, that just screwed Jeffries. Because Jeffries in there screaming, I'm standing behind Schumer. I'm going to support Senator Schumer, and then to find out that, you know, hey, this was all planned, and I'm out here screaming and yelling. But now let's find out, did Schumer go to Jeffries and go, this is what we're going to do. Now you keep screaming and yelling, and you keep doing this, you know, and, you know, we'll be able to hide a bit because everyone's going to be, you know, the government's back, Trump screwed everyone, boom, 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 boom. Let's, you know, start laying the foundation for that. Then if that's the case, Jeffrey and Schumer lied to not only their supporters and their parties, but they lied to the American people. And again, if the Democrats don't think we're going to use every word that they say against them, they don't understand what race is, not racist, but race is in front of them. They have no clue. You know, could they just be hoping for could they be hoping that something really goes bad with Trump and the administration and they could jump all over that? Yeah, everyone can hold out hope. But I think that that's not really that's not in the cards for 2026 yet. And she was talking to Brian Kilmeade on Fox News on that. And at the end of the day, what do the Democrats bring to the table? Democrats in the House released new Epstein emails referencing Trump. They didn't reference Trump. The alleged is in there that was Trump, and that had been out since 2015. So this is the Democrats' response to the shutdown. Epstein. That has been looked at and out there since 2015. There is no new information out there on any of this. None. This has been out there. And it's a false narrative taken by the failed and soon-to-be defunct party of the losers. Because none of this will change the price of gasoline or the price of food or address the Unaffordable Health Care Act. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the real world. Americans are finished with all this nonsense. We're done with it. We're up to here with it. of that Epstein is important to any of us other than the lawyers representing the plaintiffs who is suing the Epstein estate because there's money. So let the civil lawyers do their job. They have all the information used in the criminal case against Maxwell. They have it. They have all the documents used to arrest and charge Epstein. Use it. It got a conviction. That's it. Go for it. A lot of these women, there's no proof. There's nothing. There's nothing. And, they're looking for a payday. Looking for a payday. Let those civil lawyers do their job. That's the information they have at hand. That's it. Take it to court or this ends. And really, that's what they should be doing. Democrats, do your job. Help run the country. Don't worry about Epstein or that Trump was mentioned. Bill Clinton, a whole bunch of people have been mentioned. And believe me, the Democrats are on those lists just as much as Bill Clinton and Bill Gates. There's a lot of names on that list. But they're not germane to the case at hand. There's a lot of charges. Let those lawyers try to get depositions on those people. And what happens is they can't because there is no proof. It says, what proof do you have other than this person's word? Did you have cooperation? Did Maxwell say and implicate this person? Did she see something? And either they have it or they don't, and it doesn't exist. Or there's no way for them to get it. It just doesn't exist. Because anything they do use can be picked apart by a lawyer on the other side of the table. And the hundreds of millions of dollars being held by the federal government, you think they're going to give that away? Because that was their money to begin with. You think they're going to give it away? It's probably $1 billion. You think they're going to give that away? Got nothing coming. You Democrats are clueless. You're rudderless. You're going around in circles. You keep coming back to Epstein. No, nothing's solved for the American people except Epstein. Epstein is the problem with everything. It's just not going to be the case anymore, folks. We're not going with it. We're not doing it. It's just not going to be the case. All right, we're at 50 minutes. I'm going to end this. I got a lot of editing to do. What I am going to do is get some more information. I might do another show this afternoon. Might not, because it is Wednesday. And I do like going to, we went Monday to Socrates Station. Great time. Cold. We had snow showers Monday night here in sunny, beautiful, warm South Carolina. I think it was 38 degrees this morning. But it is Wednesday night, and I do like meeting some people there on Wednesday nights. So I'm a-going. Monday night, I only had one drink, 3 hours. So I had that in the beginning, some water afterwards, a little bite to eat, and I was good to go. Driving, no problem. So please don't drink and drive. You know, if you have one drink in the course of 3 hours, yeah, you know, you be the judge on that. But if you're drinking, and you know, we all know when we drink and we go, you know, if that little thought gets in the head to go, maybe I should, yeah, I know, I'm okay. No, you're not. You're not. Call a cab. Call a cab. So that's Socrates Station in Socrates, South Carolina. They will be open for Thanksgiving if you make a reservation. It's a great layout. I told my wife no cooking anymore, no nothing. We stopped doing that about 4 years ago. We'll invite people back to the house after for more desserts, and then you just have a couple of things to clean up. Done. Done. We take the family out. We take a couple of friends out. That's the best way to do it. Though I'm thinking next year, next Thanksgiving, is to have neighbors that are alone and have them over. And if it's just them, if they're not going to have family over or anything like that, come over. Come over. And we'll set up 2 big tables, and we'll have a gala time that we'll all talk about. And that's a good thing. Now, in that vein, I always ask people to give to charity. Charity of their choice. You reach out to that charity. Don't have that charity reach out to you, because you just don't want to be a victim trying to help victims. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, I could certainly understand people's reluctance to go to a charity. Give to a food bank. Give to a food bank. Of course, everything that's going on with SNAP and everything like that, food banks are being pressured. So we'll be doing that today. We'll be dropping some canned food off and some other things to help what we can do. And when you're at those food banks, and a lot of these are private sector, you know, they're not government run, ask if they need donated clothes, blankets, you know, shoes that you're not wearing anymore. They're good shoes, you know, sweaters and stuff. And then if they do, then you can, you know, hey, neighbors, you got anything that you don't want that's good that you could wear, you know, coats for kids. And pay and play it forward. Just sitting in your closet. Help out. Prayer. Say prayers. Prayers do work, regardless of what a Democrat tells you. And I always say, if you want to know why I say that, drop me a line. I'll tell you. And with that, I'm going to say thank you. This has been a very pointed towards the Democrats, who must start to do their job and retake their party. I have no problems with the Democratic Party existing. but it has to be of American values and not of communism or socialism. They don't play well with the Constitution. All right, and with that, I'm going to say later, Bob in New York, I'm going to give you a call later today. All right, everyone. Take care as I fade to black.